Thank you, ma'am.
So again, given today's session, I would request whosoever is possible, if there's no bandwidth challenge, request you to keep your video switched on so that we can interact with you all, and it will be good to see your responses and your reactions through the session. So with that, another 2 minutes, we'll be beginning with the session now. And just for everyone else's information, thank you, Maji. I'll be coming back to that because that's for the celebration after the 25th session. So I thought let's keep it that way. We'll have the session first, and then we'll go about a few things that I want to share with you all, and whosoever wants to speak about their experience over these 25 sessions, whosoever has attended, whatever, and if you have had any learnings from us, we'll be beginning with that. Post this session, we'll have this session for a short. We'll have this session a short one because of the things that we have planned later on. Hi, Amu Shireen. हाय वगीशा आ गई भाग के आ गई वापस हाय वगीशा नो इश्यूज हाय अतकल you back hi Amu, are you coming for the first time for the session today? If it's possible, you can speak up. Unable to hear anything from you, Amu. Okay, with that, let's begin with the session today. How many of you are excited? I want to see if you can speak up. You can speak up, or you can respond with the reactions on the Zoom options of reactions that you have. Wonderful. Okay. Hi, Natraj sir. So good to see you. Okay. Let's begin with the session today. How many of you all have a balloon with you? An unblown balloon. Okay, one. Akansha, two. Vagisha, do you have a balloon? Because because you have only one. That's okay. No issues. No issues. You can still enjoy the show, and because it's not just about the fun activity, it's about the learning that we're going to have following those activities. That's what the focus will be today. So with that, let's begin with the first activity that we have in line today. Shreya, Akansha. I have this clock with me. At the end of it, I'll be counting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you have to begin blowing your balloons once I say start. Hasanuddin sir, you also have balloons? You have a few of only one, or you have a few of them?
Yeah, I have more than 8.
Perfect. Okay then. With that, Akansha, Shreya, Hasanuddin sir, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. With that, I'm giving you a little time. As soon as I begin the reverse counting 10 to 1, if anyone is happy, they can join in when I'm beginning with 10. You can begin the counting reverse with me. Please open your mics and continue with that. Vagisha, same one. Okay, so with that, let's begin. 3, 2, 1, start. Blow your balloons. How many ever? Not just one. Shreya, you have just one? Okay, there we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop. 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 Okay, wonderful. Shreya, how many? 2. Hasuluddin sir, how many?
3.5.
3.5. Wonderful. Akanksha?
One, sir.
1. Where's the other one?
Tie the
Blown away.
balloons.
Okay, wonderful. So with that, let me first give you a background to where this session was born. If you go to my Facebook page, you will see that exactly today is the date, 7th of November 2015. The same session was done for MBA students, and the idea of this session was born with a simple activity that I saw when I saw a few kids playing around. A few kids playing around, and some of the very simple, naive life lessons that I learned from looking at them and how they're playing is what gave birth to this program. The idea behind this program is going to be simple. There are going to be 4 questions that I'm going to leave you all with, the thoughts for which I'll be sharing with you all. And I want you to reflect on these 4 questions at the end of the session later on. What is it that these 4 questions mean to you? What are the answers that you have for these questions? And where are you heading to with these questions? So at the end of the session, at the end of this segment of the session that we have planned today, the wisdom balloon, you're going to be answering these 4 questions to yourself. First and foremost, let me ask you, Akanksha, can you make that balloon fly?
Yes. I am
Shreya, go ahead. Make that balloon fly. Akanksha, Hasuluddin sir, make one balloon fly.
If I
Akanksha,
burst,
I can't hear you.
go fly.
No, not burst. Make it fly. Make it fly. Why isn't it going up? Why is it that you're having to push it? But do all balloons come down like that?
No, sir. Gas balloons go directly up. They don't come back again.
Sir.
So what's the difference?
Yeah.
The first question that I want to ask you all, you can sit down, Akansha, you can sit down. The first question that I want to ask you all is, why isn't it that the balloons aren't flying like the ones you see outside in the beaches or in the parks? Those balloons are flying all by themselves.
The content
What makes you
inside the
think
balloon.
that balloon flies? The content inside the balloon. The first question that I want to ask you all today, is, what is it that makes the balloon fly? And when you look at whatever stage of life that you are in, your relationships, your career, your studies, whatever we are thinking of, or whatever you're aspiring to do in your life, what is it that makes one fly? Is it
the
the
balloon
balloon
is
itself?
very lightweight
Okay,
because of the gravity also.
okay. But
That's
what
why
makes it fly?
because
What
it is
makes it
very
fly?
light. It is light, and in the
Okay.
balloon it is filled with air.
But here,
Positivity.
in this case, where you're trying to push the balloon every time, because it's coming down naturally, right? Even though it's light,
Right.
it's coming down. What makes those balloons fly, which are there outside with the balloon sellers who just hold it and the balloons are still flying high?
Density of the
Density, you talk of the helium
gas.
gas which is there inside.
Hmm,
It's a
hmm.
gas which is inside the balloon which makes it fly?
Less density.
Yeah, that is
It's
nitrogen.
what's nitrogen, helium, whatever you want to call it. I'm not into the science class here. Just want to mention the fact that it's what's inside the balloon that makes it fly. Now ask yourself, there are many people who come across different instances in their life, different situations in their life, but what is it that makes them fly? And many people give up. Give up on relationships, give up on studies, give up on any subject that they failed, give up on maybe a job or their dreams. You closely observe the people who have been successful and the ones who have not been that successful are the ones who have let go the control of their life from within to external factors. Now, when you are talking of what's within, I have these three aspects which I often call three aspects of what's within is what it constitutes is aptitude, attitude, and application. A lot of people will have one or two aspects, but it's most important to understand that it's combination of all these three aspects which makes what is within. Each one of you all are filled with this. It's just that how you're approaching those things. You could be affected by something which is external, some factor which has been affected you. You could be born in a poor family. You could be affected by COVID. You could be affected by 100 different experiences that you have had. But equally, has everyone been affected? Hasn't it been? Do you think Sachin Tendulkar hasn't had failures? But when I have faced failure, why is it that I stop? What is limiting there? It's the attitude. Sometimes when I'm not able to do things, I'm still stopping. What is it that's stopping me there? It's lack of knowledge, the aptitude which is required. And sometimes, despite all the knowledge that I have in my mind and all the attitude that I have, if I'm limited in the skill which I possess of that knowledge, I could have read a book. I could have read a book on swimming. I could have the attitude that I want to jump into the water and swim. But if I don't know how to swim in the water practically, the application side of it, will I be able to succeed in that?
No.
Now, that's the question that I want to ask you all.
Right.
That's the question that I want to ask you all for yourself. For every aspect in your life, different aspects, different facets of your life, ask yourself, what is it that's limiting you? Is it the aptitude? Is it the attitude? Or is it the application? There's a small kid when he saw at a beach, there's a man who was making balloons fly in the air. He saw that the man filled a white balloon with helium gas and left it. It flew away. Then, I'm sorry, there's a lot of disturbance. I'm sorry. If you can mute yourself. Okay. So whenever you need to talk, you can just you unmute yourself and speak. Just one more person. I'm sorry. Yeah. So there's a person, the balloon seller filled a white balloon with gas, and he left it. It flew away. He filled a red balloon with gas, and he left it. It flew away. He filled another yellow color balloon and left it. It flew away. There was a small little black child who was observing all this. He came to that balloon flyer and asked him, "Do you have a black balloon? And if you fill that balloon with the same air, will it fly or not?" The man didn't answer anything. He took out a black balloon and filled it with the same gas. And the child was surprised. The child was shocked to see that even that balloon flew away. And that's what transformed the life of that little kid, because all his life he has only seen the facet where he saw that black people were deprived. Black people were not having opportunities. Black people were not capable enough. They were not given enough opportunities, and they were never succeed in their life. All he saw through his life was that. And when he saw this factor, that it's not the color of that balloon, it's what you're filling in with. That is what makes it fly. and that transformed the life of that child. And all I want to ask you all is, like that black child had this mark in his mind about the color, what is it that you're having in your mind that's stopping you from believing that you can fly? You can fly in everything that you aspire for. What is it that's stopping you? Because let me tell you, irrespective of whatever is stopping you, that is false. That is not true. Because the only factor which makes anyone click or feel successful or rush towards or believing in their dreams and living their dreams is you. The only one stopping you is you. The only one who makes it possible is you. That's where I want you all to ask this question. What's within you? And you'll find the answer, whatever excuse you're giving it. I assure you, I promise, you can just rub it off and believe in yourself and get going with believing in yourself and living whatever you wish to and achieve everything that you wish to. That's the first question. Next, let me ask you the question. Show your balloons. Akanksha.
Yes,
That's
sir.
a wonderful pink balloon, Shreya, but that's a girly color. Blue, it's a wonderful color. I love the energy that blue has. Or yellow is a vibrant color that brings energy and joy wherever it is gone. Have you seen smiley balls in any other color other than yellow? It's because it's a color psychologically which adds joy to your life. Now, having said that, Shreya, why did you change that balloon?
I had two balloons, and one is girly and one is blue. And
We always think or judge the things that are around us based on the stereotypes which have been created, based on the things that we perceive and the way world should be based on what you have been educated with. Today I'm talking to you in English. Maybe if I didn't know English, I would have been doing the same sessions in Telugu or Hindi with the same kind of knowledge that I have, with the same kind of inspiration that I'm trying to instill. If I do that in a different language, why is it that I won't command the same respect? Why is it that for the first instance, when you come, you'll say, let me try. He doesn't even speak good English. Why should I listen to him? He can't even speak properly. What are they doing? We all are tuned in our minds based on the experiences that we have for certain stereotypes. That brings me to the next question. What's on the peripheral? What is visible to you in the world outside is what is peripheral. Today, if I make you sit beside one person and talk to him, not knowing who this person is, and you can talk to him for 10 minutes, after that, you'll feel what nonsense person he is, and you might rush out based on the stereotype that you have. If you don't know someone, you're sitting by someone in your bus or in a cab or anywhere outside in an open place, if you're getting to sit beside someone and you don't know that person, how are you going to treat that person? Are you going to look at that person as an opportunity to learn? Or are you going to say, he's so shabbily dressed, he can't even speak proper English? Because when
Sorry to
I said,
interrupt,
yeah,
but it's the way of, sorry to interrupt, but it's a way of people perspective. People viewing in a different perspective. Someone is viewing
exactly,
as a attitude, someone is viewing as a another example. Yeah, it's a people
exactly.
perspective.
Exactly. The perspective that I'm trying to share here is when we have a filter of the way we are looking at world. I always understand when I am going out and standing on a stage, I will be wearing that good shirt or wearing that coat. There needs to be a double standard. There needs to be a double standard of what you are doing, the way you are projecting yourself, the way you are presenting yourself, because you are knowledgeable, you have the awareness of how things are to be done. Need not be a person who's into farming and who's has a wisdom. If you look at the way MS Dhoni was, as an example, in 2005, If you didn't know he was MS Dhoni, probably if he was sitting beside you, you would not talk to him. Have you seen his interviews at the start of his career? But if you didn't talk to him then, what will make him think you're worth talking to him today? Now, the question what I'm asking you is, what you see on the external side of the world is purely peripheral. A lot of people need to be dig deep down to understand what is it that they are, to learn from them. There's a lot of wisdom from millions of people that are around you, need not be anywhere outside. Today, if I'm talking to a security person, even he has a certain wisdom that he has to share with me. That's what I learned from not judging or having a prejudice, or based on past experiences that I have, not limiting myself to the opportunities that are there right in front of us. Because of this very idea of stereotyping and judging that we have beforehand, before we get into know the people, we limit our opportunities. Let me give you an example. There was a class of students which had a radio jockey, which had a scientist who had patents on his name, which had a doctor, which had a musical singing radio jockey. In the sense, that person won radio jockey award. You can say that MTV Roadies award. It had people from different areas, and they were all sitting in one classroom. Any guess what am I talking about, or where is this place?
Classroom.
Classroom, which I'm talking of, if any specific place that you can think of.
An arts class. Arts or
Okay, arts
music.
class doctor. Arts class doctor.
Okay, fine.
Okay,
A seminar.
this,
A seminar.
okay, interesting, possible. Let me rather temple. Wonderful, nice perspective, Akansha. Let me share with you the place that this had all these people, actual people. I'm not talking of just titles. I'm talking of actual people who were at one place, and the place is called ISB. They were pursuing their MBA. You can imagine now a musical sensation sitting beside a doctor, talking to a scientist who has patents. What is it that makes these places so unique? The uniqueness is in the fact that these places don't do anything special. They just bring in people of heterogeneous nature, all people of different kinds at one place, because you don't need to be taught anything when the people themselves have so much of a knowledge, so much of wisdom from different fields. Now you can imagine a person who's been a MTV sensation. What learning will he share with someone who's a doctor? That is where we need to understand. That is where we need to understand that the learning that everyone has in their own field, has their own perspective, and when that is shared, it can be completely applied in a completely different league altogether. Like in one of the previous sessions, we talked about how an air conditioner was invented. It wasn't invented in some engineering place. It was invented in a newspaper factory, where it's in a newspaper factory where, because of humidity, the newspaper after printing wasn't able to dry up. And that's where someone thought, why can't I control the environment in this room so that my paper which is there can be dried up a little faster? And that's where they regulated the temperature, which is called air conditioning, inside a room. And that's where the innovation was born. The reason why different kinds of people come together is because they come with a different perspective. And that is what we need to learn. And that is where, once we gel with people of different kinds in different ways, talking in different languages, talking of a different idea, talking of a different wavelength that they could be coming from. You talk of diversity in every facet, is where you will get a potential to learn when you expose yourself to that. So that's what I'm coming to. Take off the mask that you have, take off the filters that you have while you're judging people, Because what you see on the peripheral, like in this case of a balloon, what you see is just the peripheral. Deep within each one has so much of a potential, so much of wisdom that you can learn. And because we judge on the stereotypes, we judge on the peripheral, we have a high chance of missing out on the opportunities which are there in the people that are surrounded with. That brings me second question, what's on the peripheral? Let me talk to you about the third question. Hasanuddin sir, you said about 3.5 balloons. Shreya, can you show your balloons, please? Akansha, can you show your balloon? Can you blow that balloon a little bigger? A little more bigger? I don't want you to blow it, but is there a gap? Is there more potential in it?
Yes, sir.
A little more?
Yes.
A little more? Now, the reason why I'm asking that is, okay, because of the constraint of time, I'm not getting into more activities because this is a actual physical session. We had a lot of host of activities that we do just to talk about and send across this point. But because we are in the virtual world, I'm limiting myself with this activity so that we don't waste our time. The reason why I'm asking that is because when I asked you to blow your balloons, did I ask to blow more number of balloons? Yeah. Did I ask you to blow more number of balloons? I just said, blow your balloons. But what did you think? More. I need more. I need to prove that I can blow more balloons. Did I ask you for that?
Absolutely.
The challenge that we have is we are thinking of getting things done and not thinking of getting things done well. The focus is different. The focus is on the word done and the focus is on the word well. What are you focusing on?
And the focus is also
The
competition.
reason why we focus on, we thought it was a competition.
Yeah.
The biggest challenge is many people think while I'm driving, I'm having a race with someone. But have you ever driven on a highway? Have you ever driven on a highway? If you have driven, you'll actually realize that every time you're going past someone a little ahead, there are a lot of people who are already ahead of you. And there are a lot of people who are already behind you. You could blow only 3 balloons, Akansha. See back there. I have 3 balloons blown and I have 2 more in the kitty bag. I was born 34 years ago. You were born just 13 years ago. Who are you competing with? What are you competing for? The ideas that I'm sharing today, I have seen people who are the age of 18 are sharing the same ideas. If I were to compete with them, I would feel ashamed. I would feel embarrassed that what have I done in 34 years? The ideas that Akansha is talking of today or Shreya is talking of, or for an example, on the contrary, Uma ma'am could be talking a few ideas today. She could be thinking at 34, he's talking so much. But no, everyone is on their own path. Everyone is on their own journey. You need to look at when your journey began and how well are you passing the journey today. Everyone has their own different stories. Everyone has their own different reasons. Now, the third question that I want to ask you all is, what's the limit? What's the limit of that balloon? Are you just blowing it? Are you just blowing it for the sake of it? Or are you actually testing its potential? Are you actually, how often has it been that you have gone to that pinnacle where the balloon could just blow off? It has blown, that's okay. There will be bad days where you have tested something and you have strained and you're stressed and you have failed and everything has broken down. But that will be just one day. But look at the other days, because you fear that it will blow off, because you feel there'll be scars, you are not giving yourself completely into it. You're not giving in your 100% because you think at 80% you start fearing, will it blow off like the one that blew yesterday? You're not giving your complete 100% into each day, each moment. That is what I'm asking you. The biggest challenge that we have is not in the things that we're doing, but in the things the way we are doing them. Are you testing your limits? Are you going in one step ahead? After you're blown whatever you are, have you the courage to blow one more time to see if it can blow a little more? And still it won't blast. Because that's when you're looking at the beauty of it. Of all the three people who have contested, Shreya, can you show me your pink balloon? Look at that size. Look at that size. That's the beauty of it. While we're chasing to get the number of beautiful balloons, more number of balloons, more number of balloons, we've ignored the fact that we can do one balloon beautifully well. That's what I'm talking of. When you're testing your limits, you have to keep giving in your 100% day in and day out. There's this one beautiful theory that I have, which I learned from or I heard about Dhirubhai Ambani. It's called the circle of orbits. Unlike balloons, the beautiful thing about human beings is that we can stretch ourselves. We can keep growing. We can keep testing our limits. And every time we test our limits, we know more opportunities. We know more possibilities of all that we can do. And that is what has to change. Because that is where, as an example, let me give you the story of Speak Up Club and Living Life in itself. In the last 1 year, in this year of COVID, I've done more activities, more sessions, more stage time than what I've done in the last 14 years in all. Only because I saw the present as an opportunity. I saw this moment as an opportunity and not just sit back and think that the world is gone, I can't get onto the stage again, and I don't have a stage. There are hundreds who are sitting there cribbing over the fact of what has changed because the cheese that you had was moved away. Someone talked about the book Who Moved My Cheese. You're focusing on what was moved. You're not focusing on the things that have opened up. When you change your focus to what are the opportunities or possibilities which have opened up, you'll realize that every time you're put under stress, every time you've tested your limits, there's so many things which have opened up and grown, and multifold opportunities have come up only when you're being able to challenge your limits. That is what has to change. Let me share with you a beautiful story. I was talking about the theory of orbits. That is what Dhirubhai Ambani beautifully said, that each one of us, you could be born to a rickshaw puller, or you could be born to a millionaire. Irrespective of where you're born and whatever condition you're born, the beauty of our lives or the quality of our lives will be defined in how you're moving from one orbit, the orbit that you're born, to the next one. Today we are talking of Abhishek Bachchan, you're talking of Amitabh Bachchan. Being born as a son of Amitabh Bachchan, he could be in upper scale, but still he will have to test his mettle. He will have to grow from there. The opportunities will come up. Or you could be born to a rickshaw puller. The idea is wherever you are born, are you moving to the next orbit or not? And that will happen only when you test your limits. That is what we want to focus on. Let me close this point with a beautiful story of a famed mathematician named George Dancing. The story is that of George Dancing while he was young in his college, in his school or college, wherein he had a habit like me, or so rather, let me say, I have a habit like him to study late at night or work late at night. And one fine day, he woke up late. He woke up late, and like I think Akansha or Shriya might have logged into a few classes late, he was late to his school. But as he was late to his school, as soon as he entered the class, he saw two mathematical equations written on the board. He silently noted them down and closed his book, and he thought those were homeworks. After a lot of hard work, after a lot of calculations and challenges that he faced, he eventually solved those two problems. And next day morning, he went and put that homework book under the professor's cabin. 6 weeks later, at morning 6 a.m., the professor went to George Dancing's home and knocked his door, and he was shouting at him. Shouting, George Dancing imagined there was some fundamental flaw that I did in that equations that were written. There was some problem that I did, and he was so mad at me. That's what he thought. But then the professor said, "What have you done?" George, dancing baffled, didn't know what to answer. He was just quite standing there. And then the professor said again, "What have you done?" The two equations that I wrote on the board on that day when you were late to the class were the two unsolved mathematical puzzles by Albert Einstein. And you, my dear, have solved them. If I had told you that these were two equations that are unsolved of mathematical genius Albert Einstein, would you even touch it? Ask yourself, would you even touch it? But because I didn't know that these were the two equations unsolved by even Albert Einstein, I tried them. And when I tried them, after a lot of headache, I did solve them. Only because I didn't know that they were not solved by even Albert Einstein. Now that's the power of human mind. Imagine that. When you're not told or when you don't know what the limit is, when you don't know that it is impossible, everything is possible. It's often said it's not your body, it's just your mind that you have to fake that this cannot be done. If I ask you a simple question, if you're interested in cricket, Akanksha, tomorrow morning 6 a.m. Virat Kohli is playing a match and you can go and play with him. And she has a habit of waking up at 8 o'clock. Will she wake up at 6 or won't she sleep? Uma ma'am, if whosoever your idol is, if I tell you that tomorrow morning or today late night after this meeting at 2 o'clock, you can get an opportunity to talk to him. Despite many attempts by Nataraj sir to stop you, to not sleep or please wake up, help me in some work or please don't sleep, I have some work today night, please stay awake. Despite all those challenges, will you stay awake? Why is it that people don't miss their trains or flights and still are many a times late to office by 5 or 10 minutes or late to school? These are questions that I want to ask yourself. I want you to answer for yourself. The reason is it's a mind that is playing the games. If you don't let your mind confuse you, everything is possible. And that's where you have to test your limits. The limits are what you are setting. Unlike the balloons, the beautiful thing about human beings is that there's no limit. The more you keep stretching, the more you keep testing those limits, the more are the opportunities and the more is the possibility of where you can go in life. With that, let me come to the last question. The last question, how's the journey? When you started with blowing that balloon, have you seen that the first time you have to blow air into that balloon, the first time you have to blow that air into the balloon is one of the toughest part. Not the only toughest part, but is one of the toughest part. But once you have blown that, you look at how momentum takes over, how it's a flow. The next blowing is much easier, and as you blow into the flow, to a certain extent, where you're talking of till at least 80% or 90%, it's all about momentum and flow. It becomes much easier. And then comes the real challenge of closing. That's what we've talked about, limits. How much more? A little more. Then that breath starts feeling heavy. And you can only blow that much and still test again and only blow that much. That becomes challenging. So here, let me talk of this blowing of balloon in three parts. The first part, the start. If I show you a big balloon of the size of the hot air balloon that you see and ask you to blow that balloon, look at those eyes of Akansha. That's how every task looks at the start. That's how the journey of everything that you're aspiring for is at the beginning when you have not started it. Everything it starts seems so impossible, so tough, so intimidating that you feel that you want to give up. And often we wait, we set timeline, like as they say, Murat, or anything that you want to talk about. But the fact is, there's never a bad time to start a good thing. That's what you have to think of it. There'll never be a good time to start anything that you aspire for than now. That is where you have to begin. People often wait. I'm waiting for these things to be improved. I'm waiting for maybe this tough time to go out, this COVID to go out, or waiting for these exams to pass, or waiting for my retirement, waiting for that pay hike that I want, waiting for all these students to settle down, waiting for my kids to settle down. Waiting. We often think tomorrow will be better, but let me tell you, it's never better. By acting today, you can make it better. And that is what we are talking of. Challenge yourself to starting things, whatever it is, however big it seems. Start today with baby steps. With baby steps, break those things into smaller cubicles and begin those things. And that's where you'll find that once you start, as I told you, it's all about momentum. It's all about momentum. If you're running a race, if I ask you to sit down on a get set go position, and if I ask someone who's running by your side, I'll tell that I'll blow this gun as soon as he touches you, or as soon as he is at the same level. Who do you think will be going ahead? The one who's starting now or the one who's in momentum? The one who's in momentum. And that's what is important. In every idea that you have, in every challenge that you're facing, it's all about getting it started and getting it in the flow. Focus on beginning things so that once you get into the flow, you don't realize where things are. To give you a precise example, 23rd May, when we began this journey, we had no idea, literally no idea that we'll be celebrating 25th Saturday night with you all. But here we are today. With all the challenges, after the first session, we had our challenges, or we had our doubts in our mind. Do we have the content? Will people come up? Will they keep coming back? What is it that will drive them to come back to us? And today we are already talking about online fatigue. We are seeing so many places the online attendance going down because people are already tired. So at the start, we didn't have any program beyond 3 or 4 sessions that we began with. And what you have seen in the last 25 sessions is only momentum picking up. Every Saturday night, once I'm done with the session, I have a reminder for Sunday night. What is it that I want to do next? That's how it is. You never know sometimes what's coming up next. It's only that you have to keep it going. Keep the ball rolling. Ideas will come up. It will keep popping up and it will keep growing. That's how it is. Me and Pragya, by Sundays, if we don't have an answer, by Tuesday, we're scratching our heads. What should we do? How should we do? Do we have the content for this? But somehow, everything was born, and Saturday night, 9 p.m., we were ready with something. Something because we knew we had to see you all. At the end of that session, we want to see you all smiling. And that's what kept it going. That was the idea behind getting the journey into the flow. So start today, now. Keep the journey flowing on. You won't have answers always for everything. It's only about keeping it going. Answers will automatically keep evolving to you, and that's where you learn. And finally, as I've already talked about the last point, which is about testing your limits, about closing. I've already told you it's all about, yeah, Vagisha, you have some question? Vagisha? Then keep your hand down.
No, sir.
No, then keep your hand down. Okay. The reason why, 1 second. The reason why I'm saying this is the end is where the differentiation is. The end is what makes the entire difference. You would find a lot of people doing a lot of things and closing them, but not closing them well. And that's where the difference is. For the people who have just kept it or got things done are the ones who are leading mediocre lives. The one where we're talking of excellence, the one where you're talking who have reached the pinnacle are the ones who have gotten deep into that closing part and they're delivered on the closing part. In one of the previous sessions, I already told example of Abhinav Bindra, you talk of Milka Singh, you talk of PT Usha. The only difference in where they were standing on the podium and the ones who could not stand on the podium was split second. That 1 second difference, for which it takes months and years of practice to build that momentum, to build that closing, and keep driving for perfection, keep driving for excellence. And that is where you will be different. Otherwise, there are a lot of people who are like you, who will come to that 90% and say, I'm done. Where and what difference you will be making is in this aspect, where you are the one who are making a difference. So, with that, the last question was, how's the journey? Ask yourself for everything that you're doing, how is the journey? Is it that you're limited in your starts? Is it you're limited in your momentum? Or is it that you're just letting go of the closings, of all the hard work that you've done, the effort that you've put in, just leaving closings to some mediocre closings where people will be looking at you and the things that you've done only because that closing is at a level which is pinnacle, which is looked up to with the work that you have done. Now, here, Shreya's balloon will be remembered by me because she put in that effort. She could have gone for the race, more balloons. She would have tied up after half that and say that I want to blow more balloons. But she went on to how big I can make it, how beautiful can I make it, and that's where the difference lies. With that, I'm done with my part of the session. Pragya, would you like to add anything?
Just a very small part which I would want to add, because when I heard, I would say not heard, but yes, when I read about this whole session and when we were planning to do it, there were a few questions which came to my mind. First question was, okay, this all looks good in theory, but this is not for me, right? I cannot do it. There are people who do it, but it doesn't apply to everybody. And I think a lot of us, after listening to 10, 15, 20 minutes of any motivational session, start getting into that blank phase where our mind starts telling us that no, this is not for you. Please don't pay any attention to it. And that's when we stop grasping a lot of things as to what we can do and give it to our minds. Second question was, there was something which I read, that excuses are the fears created by our mind to stay safe. This was something which stuck to my mind, because most of the times when we make these excuses of why I would not do something, why I would not want to get into something or use my potential, our mind is the first one which tells us that, I don't think you should do it. It's you stay at the safe zone. Don't blow that balloon up to 100%. Just keep it at 80 and it will be fine, right? And that's how these fears are created, and which makes us think that no, we cannot blow this balloon. So that was one thing which did come to my mind when I was thinking of this whole session altogether. Third and the final thing which came to my mind was, for how long can I apply it? Maybe in one or two aspects, maybe for 1 or 2 days. But no, when we talk about this balloon thing, we have a limit, as Rahul said. You can't keep blowing that balloon forever and ever. But when it comes to us as human beings, we can keep blowing this balloon, not because it has to burst, but we need to be very careful as to what we are filling this balloon with. Because if I fill it with sand, if I fill it with water, if I fill it with dirt, if I fill it with anything else, it will just go down. And exactly that's how our balloon of our mind is. If we keep filling things which are not useful to us, but which are not something which will make us positive or which will make us go higher, how much ever you want to fill it, it will not fly, it will not help you go higher. So when you're filling it, be extra careful with what are you filling it with. even if it is air, it will not fly. Similarly, even if you have a routine to your life, if you're just doing the regular things, you're filling the regular air into it, you cannot fly with it. It has to be a helium to make it go up. Similarly, you have to put in that extra effort from your life. You will have to fill in yourself with that positivity, that confidence, and that approach. That will be the helium for the balloon of our life. And that's how it will fly high. And trust me, after 4 days, you will feel okay, it was good. I liked it. The session was really helpful for me. But after 4 days, again, your mind will say, oh, just leave it. It was good. I agree. But it was not for you. So, what you need to do is keep putting this helium air into your mind that this session was for me and I am going to apply it. You better shut up and stay with that 1 gram thing that you're supposed to be. Do not take control of my 60, 70 kg of body all the time. So that's what was from my side. Thank you.
Okay, so now we move on to the other segment of the session today. Before that, I'm sharing a link for the feedback for this session for the wisdom balloon. Please share your feedback there, and once you share, I'll get back to you with what we have in store as celebration for today's session. In the meantime, this is the poster that we have done for the session we did today. I'll be leaving this poster in that Speaker WhatsApp in the Speaker Club WhatsApp group that we have. I'll be sharing that there, so you can pick it up from there also, and you can keep it wherever it's handy. Feel free to keep reflecting on these questions and find direction, not for just today, but whenever you wish to. These 4 questions will always help you in giving a direction to where you are and where you're heading to in life. I'm waiting for the feedback in the link that I've shared right now. In 1 minute, we'll close this session and then come on to the things that we were here today for, because we are done with 25 Saturday nights, a thing that we had not imagined, thing we had not planned for, but still, here we are today celebrating this 25th Saturday night. I'll wait for 1 minute and then I'll begin with the next part of it.
Sorry, Rahul, I have one question. Can I go through?
Yeah, go ahead, Vitkal. Go ahead.
Yeah, the question is like, what is the limit of our life? What is the limit? Where will you stop?
Stop? In what sense?
In what sense? In life, in the journey of our life, as you have told right in the beginning. And which part of the life? No, I mean to say how the life is going through, how big it is. We can't imagine also how big it is, but where is our destiny take with? Now, where we'll go from, where we'll go ahead.
Okay. To answer that, it's long answer, but I'll keep it short. 2 things that I want to note here. One thing is the possibilities is something which I strongly believe there's no limit to it, and not in the sense of financial success or where you're reaching in a place or something, but the possibilities of what you can do and what you can become as a person. That is what I'm talking with regard to possibilities. I truly believe in the fact that there's no limit. It's only limited by what and how you think and what stops you. Second thing, where should we stop? Again, the answer to that is very individualistic. It's what drives you. I've seen people at the age of 80, 90 still doing the things that they love, because when it's something that you like, there's nothing called as retirement. I could easily, with the finances and the support that I have today, I could easily be sleeping on a Saturday night. Still, we are taking the strain of preparing and building this community, because that is something that we strongly believe in, is that this platform is giving a people the opportunity to stand up, speak up, talk about the ideas, build their life skills, talk about their thought process, and equally we are the ones who are learning from it. So in that sense, it's what drives you, and something that I believe that each one should find what is it that makes them truly happy? And once they start pursuing that, there's no strain. There could be a little tiredness. There could be a little tiredness, but it will not be scars. Always remember that. Strains will always be there. There will be times when we'll be challenging. Tomorrow morning, I have another session. Monday morning, I have another session. That could take a strain. That could put a strain on me. But because I'm passionate about it, I still can keep going on and still not feel tired after the session. At the end of today's session, I'll only be smiling for I've done something that I believe in. I've done something that I love. That's what I think. For you personally, what is it that you're thinking of? And let me tell you, it need not be something which is professionally your bread and butter. This is something that we're doing as of now. This is something, living life is something that we're doing not as a bread and butter model for us. But there will be time, possibly when we're getting into deeper one-on-one or individual levels, there could be finances which could be coming into picture. But this is something that we strongly feel that we are giving a platform, and not just everyone else. We are equally learning in every session that we've experienced. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, I got my. Yes, I got.
May I
One
ask
second.
one?
I'm stopping the screen share now. Um,
Rahul, may I ask one question?
okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, as what just now being told that we need to fill the balloon to 100%, right? And we limit ourselves by filling.
Not 100.
No, means like
Yeah,
we need
I'm
to
not saying
cap
100%.
to.
Yeah, go ahead.
No. I mean to say that we do it up to 80% and we feel sit back by thinking that we have done our job like. And actually, we are supposed to fill up more 20% to make it a complete one. Like you have to do things completely. Like so, if we try to do that and fill that gap of 20%, when we do it, don't you think that people sometimes says that you're going beyond your limits? You have to limit yourself. Why do such questions we have to face when we do something beyond? People generally question us and stop us. We just stop and rethink that have we done something wrong or what? Don't go beyond the
Uh,
limits. What do we need to answer and how are we going to satisfy with
uh,
this?
Rabia, one simple answer to that is I've
Yeah.
always seen this with people. I've always seen this with people that whenever they are not something and when they're doing this, there'll be a lot of people who will be pulling you down or asking you to ask or saying something that it's not worth it or something like that.
Yeah.
But the point is, once you become something, look at them.
Yeah.
They'll be running around in the town saying that, see there, she's Rapia, she's my friend.
Yeah.
See, we were there together in that class.
Exactly.
She's Rabia. I know her. I've known her since childhood. You know that?
That's true.
The
Exactly.
point is that you have to stop answering people. I'm not saying be rude. All I'm saying is stop answering people. You are answerable for yourself, for the reason why you're doing it, and that is what matters. That's what you have to give as an answer for yourself. Are you convinced enough?
Yeah.
Beyond that, for the people who matter to you, not the entire world, for the people who matter to you, make every effort to convince them, to explain to them, not justifying. I'm just saying explain to them so that they get an idea of what you're doing and why you're doing.
Yeah.
Now it's been a journey of 15 years. Let me tell you, at the start of 7 to 8 or even 10 years, there were many people who did not understand my motives or why I'm doing living life at all, including members of family.
Yeah.
But still, I had my reasons. I rushed through that. And today, I know the kind of feeling that the people that I'm surrounded with have about the work that I'm doing and the way I'm doing it. Still, there's a long way ahead, but the point is, today they acknowledge it. One, after 15 years, I would have needed that while I was maybe at the start of the journey. But still, I don't question them. It's the point that are you convinced? Do you have an answer? Do you have a drive? If you're convinced with that, not required to answer anyone.
We are the judge of our own self, you
Uh,
mean to say, right?
exactly, because ultimately, when you're young or when you're even in a certain societal position, people will be asking you or answerable to someone they think in that ways. But once you come towards the end of your life, you'll realize that even the ones who are sitting beside you don't matter. What
Yeah.
matters is the one who's sitting within you. Are you happy with that person? Did you make the best of what was possible for your own life? And that's where, if you're getting the answer in affirmative, that I've done all that I could to the best of my abilities. Otherwise, you'll be living with only regrets.
Yeah, exactly.
Later on, when you're 60, when you're 70, you'll be cursing that, why did I listen to that people? Why did I listen to those people?
Yeah.
These are questions that I want to avoid. I don't want to live with that regret. I'm rather willing to live with this kind of a little bit of a negativity around that he's not listening to us, or they don't understand me or something like that. I'm okay with that. Not with waiting for 60 to live with a regret of what I could have done in my life. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah,
Rabia.
yeah, very well.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Pragya, can you make me the host again once? I think there's some challenge. Okay. In the meantime, I hope you have given your feedbacks. I can see only 6 of you all, but still, that's okay. With that, let me get into the next segment of today's session. With this, Hasanuddin sir, go ahead, sir. You have something?
Yeah, Rahul ji,
Go ahead, sir.
many times मैं जब कोशिश कर रहा था to extend my limits, I was put into so many troubles. थोड़े परेशानी में आ गया था. Whenever I tried to extend my limits to help someone, I fell in some troubles. How we can predict this kind of things?
Frankly speaking, we cannot predict. And let me tell you one more thing. That you're testing yourself to 100%, or you're going beyond, or you're not going for the kill in everything that you want to, there will be sacrifices. There will be situations where you will be in pain. But all I can say is that at the end, all this pain will be worth it. At the end, all this pain will be worth it. All the situations that you will be facing is something that you have to think of. Once again, Pragya, you have.
So I want to say something.
Go ahead, Deepak. I'm sorry,
Deepak.
Deepak. I'm sorry if you have felt a little bit out of context, because a lot of the people who are
No.
here have been attending the session for over 20 of the 25 sessions. They have attended at least 22 to 23 sessions. So I'm sorry if you have felt a little out of the space.
No,
Go ahead,
I
Deepak.
could get it. I could get it. Yeah. So I would like to tell you that when we talk about the going beyond the limit and all, and when we're going to achieve something, so we list what to do. But I feel at the same time we also see that what to not do, what we should not do. I feel when we make a list of what we should do, at the same time we can see which thing we should not go for, which will becomes a barrier to reach our target as early as possible. So I feel this is what I feel, which I would like to ask. What do you think about it? Means whenever we are
I'm sorry.
going to do something. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you, sir.
Yeah. Means what I feel.
Can you come towards the last part of the question?
I said whenever we go for meeting one target, that time we list that what we're going to do. But I feel at the same time we also have one list which is with what we should not do. There are some things which we should not go for. So this is my way of thinking. So what do you think about it?
Pragya?
Okay, so if I have to answer this question, it's Deepak, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So have you ever seen a weighing scale,
Yes.
right? So how do we use a weighing scale? We always try to balance the weighing scale, and that's what is considered the correct, I would say, weight of how much you would weigh a particular thing. Similarly, when we are trying to decide on what things we would want to do and what not, it's always kept on that weighing scale. Now, how do we do it? It's quite simple. For example, if I decide to go out and work, At the same time, there'll be a weighing scale which will tell me that no, kids are at home, you should not be going. Now, how do you decide how much weight would you want to extend on one side, which will give you happiness and still will not leave you with those, I would say, scars?
Scars.
So when you are trying to plan of what not to do, I think that's a very important part, is what I feel, because it has more value to than what you would want to do. Reason being that the things which you decide should not be done hurt you or stop you more from doing and achieving things. Try to make them as less as possible, and try to always weigh them in comparison to things that you would want to do, achieve, or where you want to go ahead, right? So if you want to go ahead and follow your passion, I think in one of the sessions in our passion, that this was a similar question that we got, that sir, if we go ahead with following our passion, what about the things that we are losing, right? The job part and the financials and the family not liking it and so many other things. Would you say that I would not do it? Will you be
No.
able to justify the things which you would not do? If you think they are right, if you think that they would not hinder in what you want to achieve, then don't do it. It's not, you can always put them into the box of not to do things, but always keep weighing them in comparison or in addition to the things which you would want to do. Always keep the to do list longer than not to do list, then only you will be able to achieve things. Only
Yeah, I
keep
agree.
those
Just
things
to,
in your mind which will make a huge difference to you. It can be your family, it can be your health, it can be your priority relations, or it can be your emotions. These are the things which you should only keep in the deciding factor. Other than that, a lot of people also keep things like society, what will others say, those four people, what will they say? So these kind of things are also things which people keep in not segment. So don't keep that, those only things which will directly affect you or your closest things which you would not want to leave for anything. Just keep them in that not to do list.
Okay, got it, ma'am.
okay, Deepak,
Thank you.
hopefully she answered you. Just to add to that point, again, just summarizing what she already said, you cannot have your cake and eat it too. There will always be a cost to everything that you're doing. You only have to make sure that cost is worth whatever you're trying to achieve. And the cost will always be there. With everything that we do, there's a cost. Right now, I'm sitting and talking to you. My 6 year old outside is waiting for me so that I can make him sleep. But it's worth. One day in a week, I think it's worth. That's what I'm saying. There's a cost to everything that you do. You just have to make sure it's worth it. Tomorrow, 10 years down the lane, he'll feel proud of what I have done or what community I've built. And I'll be happy about that. With that, Vagisha, it's dinner time. I think if you can wait for exactly 5 minutes, we'll be done with this session. Uh, just before that, I'll just begin with sharing a few things which I wanted to do with you all today, given that it's the 25th session. And Deepak, it could be a little bit of a out of shape for you, but still, it'll be good if you can see this.
Yes,
This is the first session that we had, 23rd May 2020. The first session since when we are talking of 25 Saturday nights with Living Life. And you can see a few of them even in today's session. And we are proud and thanks everyone who has been consistent and been coming back, and proud that you were here as a part of our journey. Hopefully, you were here because we were adding some value, and we are honored that you were here. Just to take a new name of a few people, Uma ma'am is there. We have Akanksha in the name of Srinivas Reddy, her father's name, and I can't see many others. Many others have joined as a part of the journey. The next major session that we had, where I think it was a good major turnaround, was the session which had a good amount of people because it was specifically invited with a set of people who were there on that session. It was a program or session called as Passion Purpose Stories. It was not a program on passion. It was a program wherein we invited three people who shared their stories of passion and how they pursued their passion and are living their dream. Living their dream presently, not about talking of some other day, but living their dream presently. I can still see in this Abhijisya, Akanksha, uh, there are a few more people whom I can see. If you can find yourself, I'll be more than happy for that. Shreya is also there. Uma Maimun is also that in the name of Sai Prashant. So again, these are the people who have been consistent. And today I'm very proud of one of the person who's been here for almost, I think, of the 25 sessions there. She's been here for over 22 sessions or 23 sessions. And one session she missed out is only because she didn't know the timing of it. And we are honored that she's made this video for us, which I'm sharing with you all right now. Thank you, Akanksha, for this wonderful tribute to this journey. I'll be sharing all these things in the Speaker Club group as well. Thank you, Akanksha, for this uh, video that you shared, and we are honored that you took effort to share this. Yeah, I can hear the audio. Everyone.
Change the world. Speak up, speak up, speak up, speak up. Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. Raise your hand, raise your voice, raise the roof, raise the sky, 'cause the world belongs to you and I.
Thank you, Akanksha, again for this beautiful tribute. Uh, you have been one of our finds for, I would say, the entire program, having attended all of 13, and you have had so much despite your age. And this is another tribute from Uma ma'am. Thank you for this. This is a wonderful gift that you have done for us. We'll always be honored for the kind of love that you have shared with us. Is it visible, Pragya?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So that's the thing. And coming back to what else did I wanted to share, because there were so many things that I wanted to do. Akansha. Okay, now here's something special. Once again, Pragya, I'm not sure if the audio will go through or not.
You can try.
Happen and watch it grow. Put it together from just
Pragya,
hello.
बस 2 minutes में हो गया session.
We made a wish and made it come true.
Okay, Rahul, you can stop.
We made it happen.
Okay, Pragya, I think.
Yeah, so this is actually a very old song of Engelbert, I think. The song says we made it happen because you all were there. We made a wish and you made it come true. So this is something which me and Rahul both have felt, that we made a wish that yes, we will go ahead with all these sessions online, and it was all because of you that our wish came true. And this was one song which I really wanted to dedicate to all of you. With the technical thing, I think it did not work. We will post it on the group maybe. Please do listen to the starting 4-5 lines of this song, and it's all for you.
Sir, you're on mute.
Sorry. My son was saying that to me. Thanks to you. I think that's exposure that online education is giving to them. With that, I have one special gift for all of you all. The gift is that the last 25 sessions of Speak Up Club that we have done, except for one session, which was the second or third session, which was Happiness Stories, the recording for which we didn't have. Except for that, we have created a private playlist on YouTube channel wherein we have uploaded all the videos of the 25 sessions which have happened till date. I'll be uploading the one which is happening today as well. And that's a private group. Only the ones who have access to this link will be able to see these 25 sessions that have happened. And we are giving that to all of you all today who have been a part of the Speak Up group. Any session that you have loved in the past, any session where you have felt you have had a good learning and you want to revisit that, you can access that link which I'm going to give, which is uploaded on our YouTube page. If you directly